Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People. In today's episode, Burglar calls the cops because the homeowner wasn't doing things right. Roommate goes nuts on my donuts. How dare you let nature do its thing? Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Burglar calls the cops because the homeowner wasn't doing things right. This story is actually narrated to me by a friend of mine and is a quick tale about how she turned the tables on a home invader. At the time this happened, my friend was raising her child by herself in a suburb in Texas. The area they lived in wasn't particularly safe, with wild beasties of both human and animal kinds, so friend armed herself with a small pistol and took some gun safety classes to protect her small family. The years go by, child is now 5, and there was a series of break-ins in the neighborhood, so friend hired a security company to install security cameras around her home. One day, while reviewing footage, friend noticed a strange man lurking around the house. He seemed to wander around a bit and then wandered away, so friend shrugged and carried on with her day. Nothing to worry about, right? Turns out, she was wrong. A few days later, friend was working in her home office and saw the same guy walking down her driveway, opened the gate and entered her backyard. Friend realized the kitchen door was open. Child was playing in the living room. Friend grabbed her gun from her purse and ran to the kitchen and got there as the guy calmly walked through her back door. Guy sauntered in, looked around the room to see friend standing there with her gun pointed at him. Guy froze. Friend, who are you and why are you in my house? Guy gulped, grabbed his phone and dialed 911. Help! I'm standing in this kitchen and some crazy B*TCH has a gun pointed at me. Friend was stunned but didn't put her gun down while calmly telling child to go play in their room, then stood there, not moving while staring down the guy, who refused to leave. Guy, you are gonna get it when the cops show up. Friend, you are in my house, get out. Guy actually stayed standing there until the police came into the kitchen. Guy saw the cops and started screaming, arrest her, she's crazy. Look, she has gun on me. Friend put down her gun and started shaking. This is my house. You broke in. Cops stopped and stared, looked at the guy. You broke in? Guy, well, her door was open and then she pulled a gun on me. That's not how it works. Arrest her for having a gun. Friend, I have a license and this is Texas, you idiot. Cops arrested the guy, who was still howling how friend didn't do it right. Apparently she wasn't a proper victim. LMAO, friend gave the cops a copy of the video of him sniffing around earlier in the week. She never heard anything back from them, so she figured he went to jail. And this is Texas, you idiot, haha, so true. It's Texas. Everybody has a gun. Reminds me of my friend's mom. About 20 years ago, an intruder broke into her home during the night. Their very large mastiff attacked him. The burglar then tried to sue my friend's mom for his medical bills from being bitten by the dog. Spoiler alert, he lost. Ha ha ha, good doggo. There was a news story back in the early aughts about a man who broke into a house when the family was on vacation. He went into the garage through an interior door that locked automatically behind him and trapped him in the garage for 3 days until the owners came home. He tried to sue, lost. Good for her. I'm all for common sense gun laws, but no matter what state I am in, an intruder will be staring down the business end of my shotgun. Pistols are better, quicker to move on to the next target, hard to maneuver in tight stops and difficult to sleep on. Your friend pulled the Uno reverse card, lol. Haha, apparently he was pissed because she didn't scream and cry and crap. Dumbest criminal ever. You don't call the cops while actively committing a crime. I was thinking the same, but then realized maybe he did the one thing that might have saved his own life, considering that she could have shot him at any point without repercussion.
Roommate goes nuts on my donuts.
Many moons ago, I had a roommate who was fairly entitled. I was a young adult, 21-ish, trying to find a place with a buddy of mine. Unfortunately, we both had minimum wage jobs at the time, and a place could only really be affordable if we had a third roommate. Eventually, we settled on my girlfriend's work friend. Work friend was a chill, laid-back guy, and matched my and my buddy's vibes well, so we all found a house together. He's about a decade older than me and my buddy. Note, through trials and tribulations, work friend is still friends with us and has managed a decent amount of personal growth, which is impressive for a guy in his now late 30s. Well, after several months of living with work friend, I noticed that my food would often go missing. I thought I was going crazy, or I was eating more than I had intended, because I had never lived in a household where someone would steal someone else's food. Eventually I discover my nearly full jar of peanut butter is suddenly 90% empty. Alright, that one definitely wasn't me. So I check with my childhood buddy, he doesn't know. Then I check with work friend, according to him his cat got into my peanut butter and ate it. Well, obviously A, cats don't have opposable thumbs and cannot open peanut butter jars, and B, they don't tend to use spoons. I have an irritating, but frank talk with work friend. I don't like my food being stolen, please don't do it. He doesn't admit any wrongdoing, but I assumed that the point had been made clear. I was incorrect. A month later, I had purchased for myself a rare treat, a dozen Voodoo donuts. That's $25 worth of donuts. I did not have a car at the time, so I had biked from Voodoo to my place. Upon arriving, I set the box in the kitchen and went to my room to take a quick shower to knock the sweat off. Now, I shower quickly, so I would have been gone for an absolute maximum of 10 to 15 minutes. I go back to the kitchen to grab one of my goodies, but as I open the box I discover something horrifying. A missing donut? Nope. No donuts? Nope. What could this man have done to donuts that would horrify someone? This, at the time, knuckle-dragging troglodyte had taken a single bite out of each donut. Words were had. Loud, angry words. Blame was poorly deflected. I didn't do it. Well, I did do it, but I thought they were for everyone. What do you mean I took a bite out of each donut? It's not my fault, I was really high and had the munchies. Get out of my room. Okay, get out of the hallway in front of my room. Anyways, I ended up calling his parents, who were financially supporting him and providing him free and unlimited weed. I'd like to say they didn't pay his rent that month, or gave him some kind of slap on the wrist, but he only had to beg slightly harder for rent from them that month, and that was only after he tried to ask one of my guests for rent money. OMG, I would have lost my temper so bad and probably done assault by donut to his face. I would have stabbed him in the heart with a pretzel stick. I would have had charges brought against me. He took one bite from each donut? Yeah, he would have needed an ambulance and I would have ended up in jail. I would have somehow acquired a lockbox to guard my food in short order. People who can lie like that shouldn't be allowed to continue living in the house. Not only was his mouth, saliva, lips all over one part of each donut, his dirty hands were holding the other part. They were all totally contaminated. And how did he, workmate of girlfriend, need help with expenses? Wasn't he working at same place Girlfiends was? He should have had plenty of money for food and donuts. Now you made me want a donut. A bite from each donut? He's a monster. Messing with that bacon maple bar? Criminal. The word goes is absolute key in this sentence. Without it you'd have a whole other set of problems. How dare you let nature do its thing? A few summers ago, I stopped by the Bay of Fundy during a road trip. I arrived during low tide and got to see a lot of pretty things. Various access points get closed as the tide is coming in because high tide makes large areas of the park just disappear. It's cool, but also very humbling. Living in a developed part of the world can make one forget how powerful nature can truly be.
As I was leaving, I noticed a very angry couple at the visitor center.
They were being told to come back the next day because the tide was rising and they wouldn't get to explore the stretch of beach they wanted to see.
No, not even for just a minute.
And, no, nobody would unlock the gate for them at that moment.
Really, they had to come back tomorrow.
But that's not fair, the husband yelled.
We don't have time to come back tomorrow. And we drove all the way from Toronto. Isn't there some way you could, you know? The man gestured angrily and the park employee stared and asked, "Stop the tide from coming in?"
Yes. The man actually looked pleased, as if this was an obvious solution.
Sir, it's the tide. There is no switch to turn it off or on. They were still arguing when I decided to stop eavesdropping. There is a special level of stupidity for entitled people.
Asking to go in for just a moment was bad enough. Seriously, everything was underwater, yet predictable. I was surprised they wanted the tide turned off, lol.
Tide goes in. Tide goes out. Never a miscommunication. You can't explain that.
File this one with the lady that wanted to reschedule the solar eclipse to a more convenient day.
Was on a boat trip around Loch Ness. Heard someone ask to take us to the monster.
Boat captain managed to keep a straight face as he explained it was a bank holiday, so Nessie was off.
Let me guess, Hopewell Rocks? They wanted to walk down there. They could just take kayaks, they know that, right?
I am so bad with place names, but the pictures that came up look like some of the things I saw. It really was frightening to see all of that just disappear under the water. It's been years, but I still remember that feeling, and the thought that it would be a really stupid move to try to hide when staff is giving warnings.
If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.